is Boss of Bosses 6 from 2014 now till 2019, 6 years in a row. The fact that it's number 6 is kind of the thing that makes it the coolest for me right now. I think it has its own momentum in a sense now. Like there's a certain amount of prestige to competing at certain meets, and I think a lot of people respect the meet and they want to be able to compete against people on like a meaningful platform in a meet that is regarded as like an important meet. So that's really cool for me. That I think it's garnered enough of a reputation, and it's number 6 now, but I would love it to be number 16 in 10 years. And yeah, and I think my thought on like making the meet not just good this year, but like sustainable, has always been that the meet has to like put out all the best things about powerlifting. It's got to be viewable on a live stream, and it's got to be paying out people who lift really well, and it's got to be in a good venue where people can enjoy watching it. And I mean, I'm looking forward to counting the numbers every year. It's always fun to see who comes, and especially we see some people that have come every time, like Rob. Brandon Lilly's been here every single time that we've done it as our announcer, and I think some of those things are really cool. Some people come for the first time that have been people I've wanted to get to come before, and some people just keep coming back.
Okay, so this is the 6th one, and I've done all but the very first one.
This is my 3rd year, 2nd full power, and the first year I did at Boss of Bosses 4 was bench only.
My 4th Boss of Bosses coming.
This is my 2nd Boss of Bosses. My first Boss of Bosses was BOB 3. This is gonna be my 2nd one. I didn't get to return last year. That was when I got hurt. 3 weeks out from Boss of Bosses 5. So for a year I've been fantasizing about doing Boss of Bosses 6, and it's finally here. So this comp is super important to me, not only because I haven't competed in almost 2 years, but this meet in particular is my favorite meet that I've done in my entire powerlifting career. It's a great environment, the athletes are always great, the meets ran really well, Dan and Sparkle are really great. Just thinking about that for my recovery, this every day was just focusing on trying to not only just get back to just normal activities, but being the best I can be for this meet. Glad I was able to put myself through what seemed like hell just to get back to where I needed to, but it's all worth it now, finally getting back here, and I feel great. It's the best I've felt in a long time.
I thought it'd be better in the long term to sit this one out and let my body heal from some nagging aches and pains that I've been having, and hopefully prepare better for a competition in the future. It was awesome to be able to handle everyone and coach a group of like 10 people and watch them all succeed. I train with them every day, and I see how hard they work, and when they're missing lifts, when they're not feeling so well, and then I also see them when their training is doing really well. Just to be able to kind of be there for that last part, for the kind of like when everything comes together, was really rewarding and emotional. Felt really good to be able to be a part of that ending.
I had at least given some kind of thought to doing this competition. But I also always knew that like we were having 2 babies, so I didn't want to try to like commit to something that was going to be like just kind of impossible. Yeah, no, I mean, just having our babies and having the chance to be there for my wife when she was like really pregnant, that was really great. So I'm glad that I've enjoyed like that experience like fully. So now I'm thinking about my next competition, which is great because I feel healthier and I feel like just in a really good place. So
I wouldn't powerlift if I didn't enjoy it. And the day that I stop enjoying it is going to be the day I stop doing it and do something else. But to stay smart in the sport of powerlifting or strength sports is critical. I see a lot of guys, it's just ego. And you got to humble yourself, because there's going to be days when you feel like you're there and it's just not there, and you got to be able to know to back off and live to fight another day. And that is the motto here: live to fight another day. Sometimes it's just not there, and it will be if you just give yourself time.
I actually work for a nearby city to here. It's one of the only cities that has a combined fire and police department, so I am a firefighter, EMT, and a police officer. I do that. I currently am I've been on the fire side, sorry. I'm on the police side now. Actually, I'm in the role of a detective, so I do investigations. So with that, I think that kind of ties in with kind of the whole trajectory of my life almost, where I've always been, you could say, kind of a risk taker. I like adrenaline. It definitely helps my mindset a little bit, where I've been in enough stressful situations and things like that, that I've always been good at keeping my composure. So I think that is somewhat of an innate trait, but it's also something you can hone too. And so, like, you know, whether it's being at a homicide scene, or, you know, something very violent, you know, that obviously that's an extreme, but still, you know, staying composed and focused on what you have to do there. So the same thing here, you know, you got a lot of weight on a bar, the weight can crush you, you know, at any given time. I know all too well it can cripple you. But you got to focus on what you got to do and focus on your training and just go out there and do it.
I was really excited about some of the benching, and I think clearly the Julius Maddox doing the 738.5 or 738.9 pound bench for the all-time bench world record. I mean, that's pretty wild, and that was one of the things I was really excited to see. Whenever I've hung out with Julius, he's a really cool guy, and like he's come down for a Animal ABC event here. Yeah, and he's a cool guy. He's got a great perspective. I love his like training style, and seeing him get that record was awesome.
Being a bench guy, you know, I can definitely respect the work, and we have the same coach. We are friends. We have a lot of the same values, Julius and I. So really happy to see him get that. TD, Thomas Davis, former IPF lifter, has now come over and is smashing some weights. So I'm glad to see him. We also have the same coach. Yuri Belkin, I mean, obviously it's really great to see him do some crazy numbers.
Kristy Hopkins from our gym is like, she's pretty awesome to watch. I remember a couple years ago she was asking me, you know, if I like maxed out my potential, and I was like, no, I don't think so. And I mean, I don't think I had very much influence on it, but after that point, I think ever since then, she's just been on a tear and just setting more and more world records, and it was pretty awesome. She set a bunch more today.
I got to compete against James Strickland and Jeff Jonker. They're both 308s. They both had a phenomenal day. So it was good. We joshed each other all weekend, back and forth throughout warming up and stuff. And man, once we got on the platform, it was great to just like share those moments with those guys and finish the meet off strong with them.
I'll tell you what, if you want to see something absolutely incredible, Google this guy on YouTube at the Animal Cage. Check that out. It's one of the most single impressive things I've ever seen done with a barbell. I swear on my life that's true. Rob Hall, 562.2-pound bench press coming up. Jeff is on deck. James Strickland going for an all-time world record is in the hole. Number one thing to do is execute. Make it move. Here we go, champ. You're tight, bro, Rob. Come on, Rob. Start. Oh, yeah, man. There's more in the bank. Judges say lift is good. Goes by the official name of Swim Hack. Instagram. You know what we gotta do. Here we go. Come on. Last one. Here we go. Let's go, James. Let's go. Let's get behind him here. Once he gets set up, we'll start getting crazy. Make some noise for him. Right over here. This is an all-time world record. This is big start in powerlifting. All right, man. Come on, James. Let's see what the judges have to say about that. Check them out. Amazing.
The bench press, you know, was next, and you know, it's been a contentious thing with me ever since my arm got hurt, because you know, I had been at low 500s and it went down to like low 400s, and so in each meet has been like very slowly just chipping away at it, and a lot of it's just getting like, I think, the nervous system back. Anything that PR is going to be, I'm going to feel okay about at least. So, you know, I went 210. I had missed that in training, and still to meet PR on my third. So maybe a little more in the tank, but I think it was a good decision. So I feel good about that.
Let's go, man.
Let's freaking go! Let's go, you got this!
My total ended up being, less than what I've done before. I had no idea what my Wilks was. What I'm trying to get better at is looking on the bright side of things, like keeping a positive attitude. Just because, dwelling on what you perceive to be failures it doesn't really get you anywhere, And so, I know I'm going to be, hard on myself, but I don't need to go overboard with that or try not to. I think Pete Rubish, said a few times. Something I take to heart is you don't want the highs to get too high or the lows to get too low. Saw a lot of old friends, made some new friends. That's at the end of the day, it's kind of the people that make this sport great.
Even last year, in totaling almost 100 pounds more this year, with that span of improvement is hard to kind of realize that it happened. But and that might be kind of the secret that I have that keeps me level, that kind of keeps me regulated, so that I can keep doing what I'm doing at a high level without it getting hurt or getting injured or kind of going overboard and hurting myself because I'm trying to keep up with everybody else. I'm staying in my own lane. It's not over yet. We've still got a lot of improving to do, so it's kind of scary to see what it could be.
I've got over the point where I'm past my recovery point. I'm back in the game. I got my meet done. It's been a year and 9 months, a long year and 9 months since my last meet, and now doing this one, I've got that same fire I had when I first started, and it's just about getting as strong as possible. So bigger and stronger is my next thing. I remember thinking about that as soon as I got here. To become strong, one must tap into his inner savage and be the embodiment of rage, power, and innocence. And all I could think about was just matching all that energy that I had all day, and I did. And I couldn't stop smiling. I was laughing, I was smiling, because I was just enjoying everything that was happening, all of it, from start to finish. And every lift I completed, even if I missed it, it was just me getting one step to the next goal, and it felt so good to finally be there. Just finally be there. A year and 9 months.
I feel like this is what powerlifting is about. It's about camaraderie. It's about coming together and supporting each other.
People will tell me they've come into the sport for various reasons, and when I started, usually people came into powerlifting as a extension of just lifting weights or bodybuilding. But now people get into lifting weights and they just go straight into powerlifting. People have sort of an impression of powerlifting in as a mainstream kind of thing now. It's not just sort of this niche or kind of dark hardcore sect of people in in a gross basement somewhere. It attracts women, men, teenagers, adults, the elderly, children even, and it's a really cool demographic that has just grown and grown. Having the meets that we have, I think, and having the gym that we have, I've always thought, it's not enough to just invite people who are already into the sport, but it's really important to introduce people to powerlifting from the general population. I think from a health standpoint, not everyone's trying to become the world champion, but most people who do some lifting, and especially the ones who get into the competitions, it's really cool to me to see how the way it impacts their lives.
I'm Jose Flores. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, and I was born in Mexico. I'm 27 years old, and I've been powerlifting since 2015, so you can say for 4 years. Before I heard about the contest, I knew that I wanted to compete at Boss of Bosses. Then I saw Animal Pack put out the Instagram post about holding the contest to come out and compete. So as soon as I saw that, I jumped on it and recorded a video. My younger sister helped me film it in my garage gym. I have a bunch of, if you look at the video, you see a bunch of Animal Pack, like a wall drop and a bunch of animal posters on the wall, because I've been following Animal Pack since I started lifting. The entire experience of traveling has been amazing. It's been a blessing, really. How greatly they've taken care of me. You know, the travel, the flights, the hotel, the staying, and the food on my social media. But it was really a blessing to be able to come out here, and I think you guys kind of made my wish come true. Made me feel like a sponsored athlete. So.
I like having a balance in my life of, of training, and I have a family, of kids, of dogs. We have, our gym is full of members who are pretty much like our family. Even like Animal. I work with Animal, has now been since 2012, I think, and I feel like the people who have been there are so close and cool. A lot of the Animal athletes are there for years and years. Some of them have kind of a cool story where they've become Animal athletes after competing at Boss of Bosses.
So the winner.
Don't take my job.
It was impressive to watch, and the person that they picked was Jamal Browner.
Hopefully they'll live in the cage this year.